You work hard, you follow the rules, you do the right thing, and yet, you keep getting left behind. You've probably seen it. Someone gets promoted not because they're competent, but because they're charming. Someone gets praised not because they did the heavy lifting, but because they knew the right person to impress. Meanwhile, you play fair, you tell the truth, you assume the system works, but nothing changes. Let's be clear, you're not losing because you're stupid. You're not failing because you lack skill. You're being outplayed because you're playing the wrong game. This is the game where politics beat performance, where image is more powerful than integrity, where the loudest voice in the room, not the wisest, gets heard. It's frustrating, it's demoralizing, and worst of all, it feels wrong, because you were taught that the world is fair, that effort leads to reward, that virtue is strength. But Machiavelli, the man whose name became synonymous with manipulation, would tell you the truth no one wants to hear. The world does not reward goodness, it rewards power. He would not pat you on the back for being moral. He would tell you, morality is a luxury, one you can afford only after you've secured survival. In The Prince, Machiavelli writes, "A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything is bound to come to ruin among so many who are not good." In other words, if you insist on being good in a world that isn't, you're making yourself prey. It's not that being good is bad, it's that being good without strategy is suicide. You're honest but naive. You're kind but predictable. You're principled but powerless. That's why people who know how to bend the rules often beat those who cling to them. Ever notice how some of the most successful people aren't the most skilled, but the most adaptable? They smile when they need to. They flatter when it serves them. They say the right things to the right people, not because they mean them, but because it moves them forward. You might call it fake. They call it survival. And while you're stuck asking, why don't people see my value? They're busy making sure they appear valuable, whether they are or not. Machiavelli wasn't encouraging evil. He was describing reality. And the reality is the world doesn't operate on truth. It operates on perception. Power doesn't flow to the pure-hearted. It flows to those who understand how humans actually behave and use that understanding to control outcomes. And here's the brutal twist. Even if you are better, smarter, and more honest, if you don't play the political game, you'll be passed over by someone who does. And then you'll be sitting there, frustrated, resentful, and still broke. While they're celebrated for work they didn't even do. This is the hard lesson. If you're losing despite doing everything right, then right might be wrong for this world. You have two options. 1, keep hoping the game will change. 2, learn how to play it better. In the next part, we'll explore Machiavelli's most controversial insight. Morality isn't rejected, it's just repositioned. Not as your foundation, but as your disguise. You've been told since childhood, be kind, be honest, be good, and good things will happen. But what if that belief is the real lie? Machiavelli never said you should become evil. He never told anyone to be cruel for the sake of it. What he did say, and what people have spent centuries trying to ignore, is that your moral code means nothing if it gets you killed. To him, the idea that goodness alone leads to success wasn't noble. It was delusional. In The Prince, he doesn't waste time pretending the world is fair. He breaks it down like it really is. Chaotic, unpredictable, and full of people who will smile in your face and stab you in the back. And in that kind of world, surviving, let alone ruling, requires more than just virtue. That's why he wrote, "It is not necessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but it is very necessary to appear to have them." Let that sink in. You don't have to be good, you just have to look good when it counts. According to Machiavelli, morality isn't useless, it's just not foundational. It's not the base of power, it's a mask you wear when needed. A tool you use when it serves you, and when it doesn't, you put it away. Think of morality as armor. Looks noble, makes you feel righteous. But in some fights, it slows you down, makes you predictable, gets you killed. That's what Machiavelli meant. Not that you should abandon morality entirely, but that you should control it, not be controlled by it. The truly powerful know when to be kind and when to be ruthless. They know when to show compassion and when to use fear, not because they're heartless, but because they understand this brutal truth. Most people don't respond to goodness. They respond to strength. And strength in the real world doesn't come from purity. It comes from perception, from knowing what image to project, what role to play, and when to do it. So when you walk into a room with your heart on your sleeve, expecting that your honesty will earn respect, understand this. Someone else is walking in with a carefully constructed image, a smile they rehearsed, and a plan to take control. Guess who's walking out with the deal? Machiavelli's world and ours isn't built on ideals. It's built on outcomes. You can have all the noble intentions in the world, but if you don't know how to play the game, you'll get played. He saw virtue as a performance, not because he didn't believe in values, but because he knew that survival must come first. You can't uplift others if you're powerless. You can't protect the good if you're crushed by the wicked. That's why Machiavelli's advice wasn't evil. It was realistic. He wasn't corrupting minds. He was shaking people out of their illusions. He was saying, stop confusing what should be with what is. Because in this world, you don't win by being the most moral. You win by knowing when to hide your morality and when to use it as leverage. You think your goodness should speak for itself? Machiavelli would laugh. He'd tell you the world isn't listening, it's watching. It's watching who appears powerful, who moves the pieces, who isn't afraid to get their hands dirty. So no, morality isn't dead, but it's not leading the charge. It's following behind strategy, perception, and self-preservation. And if you don't understand that, you're not being noble. You're being naive. In the next part, we'll look at 3 uncomfortable truths. Truths about fear, lies, and the hidden rules that shape who wins and who gets used. There are 3 truths that most people avoid, not because they're false, but because they're too uncomfortable to accept. If you want to survive, not just succeed, in a world that rewards illusion over integrity, you need to face these truths head on. Truth 1, emotions beat truth, always. We'd love to believe that facts matter, that the truth will eventually win. But that's not how people work. What really moves people is emotion, fear, hope, anger, loyalty. A skilled manipulator who plays on those feelings can dominate a room, win an election, or raise millions, even if every word they say is a lie. Think of political speeches, media spin, influencer marketing. People aren't looking for the truth. They're looking for something to believe in, something that makes them feel secure. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. In The Prince, he warned that it's not important to be virtuous, only to appear virtuous when needed. If you cling to honesty while others sell the better illusion, you'll be left behind. Truth 2. Laws are for the weak. The strong know when to break them. We grow up believing laws are sacred, the foundation of fairness. But in practice, laws serve one purpose: to keep the majority in line. Powerful people bend the rules, they write exceptions, they pay fines and walk free, because laws don't apply equally and never have. That doesn't mean you should be reckless. It means you need to understand how the game is really played. If you follow every rule blindly, while others exploit loopholes and gray areas, you'll never level the playing field. You'll be playing a different game and losing it. Machiavelli didn't say to be immoral. He said to be strategic. When your survival or success is on the line, rigid morality can become a liability. Truth 3, power is performance. And most people don't even know there's a stage. The people who rise are not always the smartest or the most capable. They're the best performers. They know how to command a room, how to project confidence, charisma, authority, even if they don't have any of it behind closed doors. They know how to command a room, how to project confidence, charisma, authority, even if they don't have any of it behind closed doors. They think authenticity is enough. It's not. Power is about perception. If you can't control how others see you, you'll always be playing defense. And when others are playing offense, bending truth, hiding weakness, faking strength, sincerity becomes a weakness. That's why people who play dirty survive, because they understand the script. They know which role to play and when. They don't show every card. They don't trust too easily. They don't wait to be rewarded for doing the right thing. They create their rewards by controlling the narrative. So yes, these truths are hard to accept, but deep down, you know them. You've seen less qualified people get ahead. You've watched charm beat competence. You've felt that something was rigged, and it was. This is not a call to become a villain. It's a wake-up call to stop being naive. The world doesn't reward goodness. It rewards those who know how to use goodness as a mask. In the next part, we'll look at how the most successful people master this performance, using deception, betrayal, and timing to build empires while looking like heroes. Let's drop the illusion. The most powerful people in the world didn't get there by being kind, honest, or fair. They got there by knowing when to lie, how to perform, and who to betray, quietly and efficiently. Success at the highest level is not about talent or effort alone. It's about control, of perception, of narrative, of timing. Let's look at two names that prove this. First, Steve Jobs. To many, he's a creative genius, a visionary who gave us the iPhone, the Mac, and Pixar, a revolutionary. But those who worked closely with him told a different story. Jobs was known for being manipulative. He had what they called a reality distortion field, the ability to bend truth, to deny facts, and to make others believe in something that didn't even exist yet. He often took credit for others' ideas. He publicly humiliated employees. He was unpredictable, controlling, and merciless in business. And yet he was worshipped because he knew how to perform. He crafted an image of brilliance, of rebellion, of perfection. He didn't win because he was always right. He won because he made people believe he was right. Machiavelli couldn't have written it better. A leader doesn't need to be virtuous, only appear virtuous when it suits him. Now, a second, more controversial example, Vladimir Putin. Whether you like him or not is irrelevant. What matters is how he plays the game of power. Putin didn't rise through kindness or popularity. He rose through control, manipulation, and strategic ruthlessness. From his early days in the KGB to ruling Russia for decades, he mastered the art of keeping power, not just getting it. He controls the media, crushes opposition, keeps allies loyal through fear and favors, and yet, to millions, he's seen as strong, decisive, even noble. Why? Because he controls the narrative. While others play by rules, he writes them. Putin shows us the other side of Machiavelli's advice, not just the illusion of virtue, but the use of fear. He once said, "If you push a rat into a corner, it will fight to the death." That's how he views politics, not as a place for cooperation, but for survival. And he's still in power. Here's what both examples have in common. They aren't successful despite their deceit. They're successful because they understood when and how to use it. Jobs used illusion to inspire. Putin uses it to dominate. Both mastered the art of perception and made it their weapon. Ask yourself, are you losing because you lack ability? Or are you simply refusing to see what the winners are willing to do? Most people are taught to play fair, to be liked, to tell the truth. But the ones at the top, they learned how to play the part, hide their real intentions, and pull the trigger when others hesitated. And no, this doesn't mean you need to become evil. It means you need to stop expecting honesty to win by default. Because in many games, especially the games that matter, truth doesn't win. Strength does. Strategy does. Timing does. In the next part, we'll explore this even deeper. Why playing dirty doesn't mean becoming a bad person, but becoming someone the world can't ignore. Let's get one thing straight. Playing dirty doesn't mean hurting others for fun. It doesn't mean being cruel, heartless, or evil. It means doing what others are too afraid to do. It means understanding that in a world built on competition, survival sometimes requires hard decisions, even if they look bad on the surface. Let's break this down. First, sometimes survival means saying no. Maybe you've been in a situation like this. Someone asks for help, and deep down, you know it will cost you. Your time, your energy, your peace. But you help anyway because you don't want to seem selfish, because you want to be liked. That's noble, but it's also a trap. Smart people know this. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't save everyone. Sometimes the strongest move is to walk away, to protect your space, to disappoint others so you don't destroy yourself. Second, sometimes you need to wear a mask. You don't like your boss, your coworker, your client, but you smile anyway. You know someone's lying, but you pretend you don't. You act soft when you're planning your next move. Is that fake? Maybe, but it's also smart, because power doesn't go to the most honest person in the room. It goes to the one who knows what to reveal and what to hide. As Machiavelli wrote, a prince must learn how not to be good and use this knowledge when necessary. He wasn't saying you must be bad. He was saying, learn the option. Keep it in your pocket. Use it when the stakes are high. Which brings us to the third truth. Playing dirty is often just playing smart. In politics, business, even personal life. Those who always play fair, who always show their hand, who always speak the truth, are often the ones who get played. Why? Because they assume the game is fair. But the real world isn't fair. It's tilted, rigged, chaotic. Those who win learn how to adapt, how to bend without breaking, how to break just enough to get through. They say no without guilt. They fake weakness to lure in threats. They keep their true intentions buried until the perfect moment to strike. And here's the key. They don't see this as evil. They see it as strategy. Because if the world rewards results, not intentions, then why not act accordingly? Why lose with honor when you can win with awareness? That's the shift Machiavelli demands. Not to become a villain, but to stop pretending that goodness alone will save you. Sometimes being too kind is dangerous. Sometimes doing the right thing means doing what feels wrong. Not because you want to hurt anyone, but because you want to survive, thrive, protect what matters. So next time someone tells you that playing dirty is immoral, ask them this. Is it immoral to protect yourself in a rigged game? Is it immoral to learn how others play and match their moves? Or is it simply necessary? In the end, the smartest players are rarely the ones who shout the truth. They're the ones who wait, who watch, who strike not out of anger but precision. In the next chapter, we'll face the final question. Will you be the honest loser or the masked survivor? Let's stop pretending. The world doesn't reward goodness. It rewards perception, control, timing. It rewards those who know how to read the game and hit first. You've probably seen it. The nicest person in the room rarely ends up with the power. The most generous employee rarely gets the promotion. The most honest player? Usually the first one out. Why? Because kindness without caution is a liability. Because being real in a world of masks often means walking into the fire without armor. But here's the dilemma. You don't want to lose your soul. You don't want to become cold, ruthless, unrecognizable. So what do? You learn to hide it. You keep your principles, but you don't hang them around your neck for the wolves to see. You protect your humanity by not exposing it to everyone, because some people will use your goodness against you. Weaponize your empathy. Turn your honesty into a weakness. That's the world Machiavelli understood. He didn't ask you to become a monster. He asked you to survive among them. He knew that playing nice won't stop the knives from coming. That morality by itself won't shield you from betrayal, politics, or power games. In The Prince, he writes, "A ruler who always keeps his word and is always good will not survive among so many who are not." It's a brutal truth, but it's not hopeless, because you don't need to become evil. You just need to know how to act when evil is around you. You need to learn when to speak, and when silence protects you better, when to give, and when giving means losing, when to trust and when to pretend. In today's world, survival isn't just physical, it's psychological, social, strategic, and your choice isn't between being good or bad. It's between being naively good or being good enough to know when to step back, play smart, and protect yourself. You can still care, still love, still stand for something, but you do it from behind the armor, from a position of strength, not sacrifice, because the people who survive the longest and make the most difference are not always the loudest or the purest. They're the ones who understood the system, adapted to it, and played the game without losing themselves in it. So now we come to the final question. Will you be the honest loser, bleeding, broke, betrayed, but moral? Or will you be the quiet player who watched, learned, survived, and changed the game from the inside? The world doesn't care how real you are. It cares how well you play the part, how long you last, and how sharp you strike when it matters. Don't lose your humanity. Just learn when to show it and when to sheath it. Because in a world full of masks, maybe the realest thing you can do is wear one too. Your move.